What's up, everybody? Coach Daisha here, bringing you another hot topic. This one is, it's interesting. It's interesting because for those of us who love exercise, it's hard to imagine our lives without it. It's hard to imagine not moving our bodies and not doing something on a regular basis. We love it for a variety of reasons. But there are those of us out there who currently would use the term hate when it comes to exercise. Now, for me, this particular question came up recently in some office hours that I did. And as the woman said the words, a lot of other women on that particular Zoom call started nodding their head in agreement. Now, for me, in my experience, a lot of times this has to do with strength training, but for the purpose of today's video, I really want to kind of dive a little bit deeper and unpack what it means when somebody uses the phrase, I hate exercise. And when it comes to osteoporosis, why it's important for us to figure this out so we can move forward and do what's best for your body to hopefully improve your diagnosis. So let's get started. As I mentioned before, I am personally no stranger to hearing this particular statement from past clients throughout my career. So I've got 3 tips that I want to go over in today's video that will hopefully help you if you feel like you are currently somebody who hates exercise. So let's go through each one of these tips individually. Tip number 1 is to currently find a type of exercise that you love. Now, we've all got some way of moving our body that we actually enjoy. It may be something stereotypical like walking or Zumba classes, maybe riding your bike. It could be something kind of within a normal box. But sometimes you can think outside the box. Maybe you like or you enjoy working outside in your yard or in your garden. Maybe there's a particular type of lower impact movement that you like. Maybe it's something like Tai Chi or Qigong. Maybe it's something where it's more of a mind-body experience. Whatever it is, I want you to stop and think about ways that you move your body that you actually enjoy, because this is where we're going to lay your foundation. When somebody says they hate exercise, that also lets me know that they don't do it on a regular basis. And in order for any type of exercise routine to not only be beneficial for our entire body, but specifically our bones, we've got to be able to do it consistently. So we want to be able to create a consistent routine. If you are currently somebody who hates exercise, that routine right now needs to be made up of exercises or workouts that you do enjoy. So stop right now and think about that. How do I enjoy moving my body? What are my favorite forms of exercise? Because whatever that is, I want you to lay the foundation with that exercise. Let that be the thing that you're currently doing 3, maybe even 4 times a week. And when you start seeing consistency with that form of exercise, it'll be time to move on to tip number 2. Now, tip number 2 is one that we kind of have to unpack in several ways. Tip number 2 is, why do you hate exercise? Now, in order to unpack this, what I have found beneficial for my current and former clients is to do 2 things. The first is to actually pinpoint the type of exercise that they hate. What is it that they specifically hate doing? Is it running? Is it lifting weights? Is it a cardio dance class? What is it specifically that they hate? And then 2, specifically figure out why they hate that form of exercise. So here's a funny story that I like to tell when it comes to something along this topic. Whenever I meet a man who is somewhere probably at least 40, probably a little bit older, and he tells me that he hates yoga, I can guarantee that the reason he hates yoga is because back in the day, he did the P90X program. And in that program, on Sundays, they had a 90-minute yoga routine. And I'm not talking about any type of yoga. I'm talking about legitimate, intermediate to advanced yoga poses that were being held for a significant amount of time. And that class was 90 minutes long. Once again, If I meet a man and he says those words, oh, I hate yoga, I tried it in the past, I hate it. I look at him and the next words out of my mouth are, you did the P90X program, didn't you? And he's like, yeah, that yoga, I hated it, right? That was an extreme form of yoga that they had these men doing. And let's face it, mostly men were doing that program. And a lot of men don't do yoga to begin with. So even though they were trying to introduce yoga to men, they were doing it in such an extreme way that it really threw them off, right? So that's an example of somebody saying they hate exercise. Let's get specific. You hate yoga. Okay. Why do you hate yoga? Well, I hate yoga because back in the day, I did this 90-minute really hard yoga routine, right? It's really important to figure that out because once you have the answers to those questions, you can easily find a solution. In this case of the men who hate yoga, I would highly encourage them to do a 10-minute at-home flow yoga routine. Get online, get on YouTube or some other streaming service and find a 10-minute flow yoga routine. Because let's be honest, yoga has its benefits, not just for the body, but for the mind as well. And so, do we need to do 90 minutes of really hard yoga on the outset? No, we don't. We could work up to that eventually if we want to. But if we do want yoga to become a part of our routine eventually, we got to start pretty small. So it's easier to find solutions to why you hate exercise and how we can incorporate it into your routine if you ask those two questions. What type of exercise do you hate? And why do you hate it? Now, for some of you, you may be like, I'm not sure. Maybe there's other reasons. I've literally had people tell me, I hate exercise because I sweat too much. Right? So let's figure out ways that we don't sweat as much when we exercise. Maybe it was the type of exercise you were doing in the past that caused your heart rate to be so high, therefore excessive sweat. Maybe it's simply the location. If you're always working out outdoors when it's hot, probably going to sweat. Let's bring that indoors to a climate controlled area. Maybe it's the clothing you're wearing. Maybe we get out of cotton and we get into something more dry fit or moisture wicking, et cetera, et cetera. So much easier to find solutions to this problem of hating exercise if you ask those two questions, right? What type of exercise do I hate and why do I hate it? Now, and here's another thing, if you truly can't pinpoint why you hate exercise, I'm going to encourage you to look back to your youth. For a lot of people, subconsciously, we hate exercise because we had a negative experience with exercise when we were kids. Maybe it was something that happened in PE class. Maybe it was something that happened on the playground. Maybe you didn't get picked for the sports team you tried out for, et cetera, et cetera. When we have those negative experiences and we then equate them or lump them into exercise, it makes it real easy for us as adults to avoid exercise because we are also trying to avoid another negative experience. So stop and think about it. Did you have something like that that happened in your childhood that might be keeping you from moving your body right now? If that is the case, if you feel like it might be a childhood trauma that's keeping you from exercise, I have a really simple solution for you. Exercise at home. For most of us, those negative childhood experiences had to do with somebody else, whether it was a coach or a teacher or maybe other classmates. Sometimes those experiences in childhood are a part of judgment. We feel like we were being judged back then, judged in a negative way. So a lot of people will avoid exercise because a lot of our exercise has to do with leaving the home and going to a gym somewhere. So whether you're trying to lift weights around other people or maybe you're trying to take a group fitness class, sometimes it has to do with other people. So I encourage you, you can always move your body without other people around. You can get a great workout from the comfort of your home. And that's a great place to start and build it into your routine before you try to incorporate others into your exercise. So once again, tip number 2, what type of exercise do you hate? Let's pinpoint it and let's figure out why we hate that exercise. Last but not least is tip number 3. When it's time to add that format in that you've been hating for so long, you're going to do it for 10 minutes, one time a week for 4 weeks. Now, you probably heard this and you're like, what? 10 minutes? Once a week for 4 weeks? But there's a method to the madness here. You have to remember, depending on your age, whoever you are watching this video, you may have been hating exercise for well over a decade. Maybe you've been hating exercise for 2 or 3 decades. That's 20 to 30 years of your brain telling you that you hate something, that it's bad for you, that you shouldn't be doing it. Even though you know exercise is good for you, the fact that you're using the word hate means that mentally, that is something that you believe is bad for you. Therefore, you haven't been doing it. We can't erase decades of hatred by throwing you to the wolves and having you do something for 3 days a week, an hour at a time. That's not going to cut it. Now, the main reason that I bring this up is because I have a feeling that when this question or when this statement was made by the lady in my office hours, she was probably talking about strength training. And we know how important strength training is for our body. So not just for our muscles, but for our bones, right? So strength training is something that I highly encourage everybody to do because it is the modality of exercise that we can all access. We can't all do impact movements, but we can all strength train in some form. For a lot of women of a certain age, strength training is not something that they have been doing for their entire lives. It may be something that's brand new to them, and it may be something that was discouraged towards them for years. So now all of a sudden, you've got this group of fitness professionals telling you, you got to lift weights. So you're thinking, but I hate lifting weights. So whether you have experience there or not, we want to make sure that if we truly want strength training to become a part of your routine, we've got to start so easy that you feel like you're not even sure why you're doing it. So what I encourage my clients to do is let's do some body weight movements for 10 minutes on a Monday or whatever day of the week we choose. You pick one day a week. And for the next 4 weeks, we're going to see if you can complete those 10 minutes. And it's going to be easy peasy movements. We're not adding a bunch of weights right now. We're doing body weight movements. We're doing maybe some squats, maybe some lunges. Maybe we're doing some stuff on the floor for our abdominals. Maybe we're doing some wall push-ups for our upper body, et cetera, et cetera. We're making those 10 minutes as easy as possible for 4 weeks. And that's it. At the end of 4 weeks, if we were able to do all 10 minutes, right? And all 4 of those sessions in those 4 weeks, then we can progress from there. Maybe we go a little bit longer. Maybe we make it 15 minutes, or maybe we add another day. So I do a 10 minutes on a Monday. I do a 10 minutes on a Thursday, right? You get to decide how you progress from there. But the point is, in order to reverse the brain's thinking of their hatred towards this exercise, it's going to be slow going. This isn't the flip of a switch where all of a sudden you love strength training or whatever the modality is. I'm using strength training as an example here because by and large, for a lot of women, if they say they hate exercise, I can almost guarantee it's the strength training part of exercising that they don't enjoy. So we got to start small. We've got to make it so easy that now your brain goes, well, hold up, that wasn't so bad. Not as sore as I thought I was going to be. I actually feel pretty good. It was easy to do. Now I want a little bit more of it. And so this is when you progress. Once again, you could add another 10-minute day, or you could add more time to that 10 minutes. And as you can see, every 4 weeks, you can progress it even more. Eventually, you could get to the point of doing 3 full body strength training sessions that only take you 30 to 40 minutes to do each time. You will eventually get there. But my point is, in order for you to start doing something that has been told to you as a benefit to your body, and yet you currently hate it, you have got to work yourself into it. It's got to be the smallest baby steps possible. And then every 4 weeks or so, you can progress from there. So that's tip number 3. 10 minutes once a week for 4 weeks. Do that thing you hate. As I wrap this up, I want to make one final point. You may hate a form of exercise that just ain't beneficial to you. And if that's the case, don't worry about it. Don't try to add that to your routine, right? Running is not beneficial to everybody. CrossFit, not beneficial to everybody. Training for a marathon or an Ironman competition, not beneficial to everybody. There are certain things we just don't have to do. We don't need them. But let's take a nutrition example. Vegetables are good for us. We all know that, but not everybody loves vegetables. There are ways to ease vegetables into your nutrition plan, right? Slow and steady, just like I mentioned before. But keep in mind, not everything that you believe you should be doing, you have to do. And if you know that, if you're thinking right now, oh, well, I hate this form of exercise, but I don't really have to do it, then don't. I encourage everybody to try to have a wide variety of ways to move their body, right? Because once again, we've talked about this in a prior video. Physical fitness has 5 different parameters. It isn't all about strength training, even though that's important. We've also got to work our heart. We've also got to make sure that we maintain our balance and flexibility. And for our body type, we've got to make sure that we maintain a certain body composition. These are all things that wrap up to make a true physically fit human being. But that doesn't mean you got to run to do it. It doesn't mean you got to do CrossFit to do it, etc. So if the thing you hate is not needed, don't even worry about it. Focus in on the things that you know are beneficial to you. Your walking, your strength training, your cardiovascular movements, your yoga and Pilates for core stability, and of course, your rest and recovery. Those are the things you absolutely need. So if for whatever reason you hate one of those, use the tips that I said in this video to kind of ease them into your regular routine. And that's it for this week's hot topic. I would love to know in the comments below, what's the exercise that you hate? And if it was one that you used to hate, but now you love it, put that in the comments too. It's always fun to read those things. For me personally, it used to be yoga. And I'm not going to lie to you, it's still not my favorite, but it is something that I incorporate into my routine regularly because I love the benefits of it. I love how I feel having it be a part of my regular routine. So I don't hate it anymore. It's just not my favorite, but I do it, right? It's like Brussels sprouts. Not my favorite, but I'll do it every now and then. Drop that in the comments below. Let me know. What do you hate or what did you used to hate, but maybe now you love it? That's it for this week, everybody. I'll see you next time.